Welcome once again. Welcome once again, all of you horror fans out there, to Horrors Unlimited. I am your host, Professor Gore. Thank you guys for joining me once again. Thank you. I appreciate the amount of views I'm getting. I appreciate you guys taking the time to just talk about these just listening on my opinion on some of these crazy horror movies that have come out in the past few years. And I did promise you guys that I was going to do a review of this absolutely insane horror movie. Last time we met, we were talking about the Antichrist, aka the Tempter. And then I promised you guys, I said, I'm going to do a review of another, what is basically called a demon possession film known as Abby. And that is this film right here. Yeah, the one close up here. Once again, I want to go over the fact that this is a double feature here. The one at the bottom is known as Magdalena, and that one is terrible. I won't even bother to do a review of Magdalena. That Joker. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Whoever made that one, they need to be prayed over. They need prayer. Maybe they were possessed when they made Magdalena, because that was horrible. But the countless rip-offs of The Exorcist that were made during that period of time, Magdalena, in my personal opinion, is one of the worst. But anyway, so much for that. Yeah, but I want to talk about this film here, Abby. Now, what's interesting about Abby is it came out essentially the same time that the Antichrist, aka the Tempter, came out, about 1974. It was a part of the era of Abby, was a part of the era of possession films that were being produced, demon possession films that were being produced during the early to mid 70s due to the massive success of William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, that was produced by the major studio Warner Brothers in 1973. Once again, it was a huge hit overseas, and many of the filmmakers overseas decided that they wanted to cash in on this, just like the movie Zombie that I did a review of some time ago. Zombie, also known as Zombie 2, was a film that was produced based on the economic success of George Romero's 1978 splatter classic Dawn of the Dead. Same situation here with these films here. Abby is just one of them. Now, what makes Abby, one of the things that makes Abby distinctive or different from the other exploitation films that came out during this time of demon possession films, was the fact that it's mostly an all-black cast, or rather, the main characters are all black. Okay, the young lady, as you see here, although she don't look like no lady right there, is black, and the priest was black. I can't remember the name of the priest's name. Let me see here. I forgot his name anyway. But anyway, I'm sorry, people. Yeah. Anyway, the priest was black. The priest that was assisting him was black. Okay. So the main characters were all black. And the reasoning behind this was because, and now here's a sidebar to this, because it's kind of like a mixture of subgenres. Remember what I said is that the Antichrist and Abby and Magdalena and a host of other demon possession movies were essentially films that were trying to cash in on the fame and economic success of William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. But one of the things that makes Abby distinctive in this echelon of possession movies, exploitation movies, was not only that the main characters were black, the priest was black, the woman that was possessed was black. Not only that, but Abby was part of a subgenre known as Blaxploitation films. Now, I know that sounds comical to some people that may not be aware of that term, but Blaxploitation films were essentially movies that basically were exploiting the plights of black people. You had Abby, Coffee, Sheba Baby, Hell Up in Harlem, Friday, all these kind of different movies and so forth. Pam Grier, a lot of movies that I saw with Pam Grier in it. The Mac. All of these films were known as Blaxploitation films. Okay, Abby was a part of that. In fact, Blackula, I was sharing it with a friend. Said there was a movie called Blackula that came out around like 1974. I think the same year that Abby came out. And this person laughed. They thought I was joking. But in reality, it was an actual film called Blackula. It was about a black version of Dracula, right? But those films, whether they were horror films or whether they were action films or whatever, they were all a part of the subgenre known as Blaxploitation films. And Abby was a part of that subgenre, as well as a part of the subgenre of demon possession films that came out during the same period. So let me give you just a brief synopsis of this film. Essentially, it starts off with a professor, who's basically the priest, is sitting and he's talking to a college professor. He's talking to a group of young people, and he's reminiscing about African culture and so forth. And then he talks about this demon known as Inga, I believe, and this demon is evil and so forth. So then we flash forward to a particular city where a family moves into this home, and the main character, the main female character, the one that gets possessed, somehow she ends up doing something that I don't want to give away too much of the plot. She does something she shouldn't do, and she ends up getting possessed by this demon. And let me tell you something. If you thought The Exorcist was insane, this is even just, I would, in terms of insanity, I would say Abby was in that same field. Okay. Abby was in that same field. Okay. This woman did some of the most crazy, insane things that you could imagine. Okay. Like I said, I don't want to give it away, but it's filled with foul language. I will say this part. She doesn't spit up any green slime. I'm sorry. Her head doesn't twist around in a circle, nothing like that. Okay. But it is insane. There are some scenes in this movie that is absolutely insane. There's a scene involving the young lady that's possessed, where she's at a sink and she's slicing some food, and I think she was slicing some celery or something with a knife, and then she does something with the knife that was pretty brutal. Okay. Not on the same level of The Exorcist, of course, but it was still kind of brutal. And the exorcism scene at the end of this film is, I would say, it's not on the same par of The Exorcist in terms of intensity, but it is a very effective exorcism scene. Okay, it is a very effective exorcism scene. And it has some very creepy moments in it. I do highly recommend Abby. Now, in terms of special effects, once again, we're going to special effects. The special effects were good for its budget. They were kind of on the same par of the Antichrist, also known as the Tempter, that I did a review of some time ago. Kind of on the same par, but not very much so, okay? But the FX are pretty well done. The acting is decent. It's decent for a low-budget film. I mean, what do you expect from a low-budget film? I mean, come on now. And let me say something quickly about the budget of this film. You said low budget. I want to say something quickly about the budget of this film. I'm not putting the film down. I'm not. Okay. I think people who like possession movies, you like independent films and so forth, like I do, you would give it a pass. Okay. But this film was very low budget. I mean, this is a DVD form, and when I watched this, I'm like, man, could they have come up with a better rendition of this film, because it was scratchy and it was skipping, and so I was like, oh my gosh, this film was really low budget. It was really low budget, man. So in terms of the type of film that they used to make this movie, it wasn't the best kind of film, because it was a very ultra low budget film. But I do recommend it. I don't recommend this mess here. Please don't check out this movie here. No, Magdalena. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh God, no. Abby, yes. Check Abby out. Okay, check Abby out. It is a great film. The question is too, is it scary? I wouldn't say it's scary. I wouldn't say it's scary. I would just say that because when you talk about scary, I always kind of compare it to The Exorcist. I wouldn't say it was scary as much as I would say that it was shocking. There are some things in it that are shocking. There are some scenes in it that are scary. But in terms of the overall tension in the film, in terms of building tension and so forth, I wouldn't give it those kind of credentials in terms of it being scary. The Exorcist was scary because of how it built the tension with the characters and the plot development and so forth. The entire atmosphere of The Exorcist breeded dread. Okay, Abby didn't do that necessarily, but it was. There are scenes that are scary, and I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. There are scenes that are scary, but the overall film wouldn't be considered what I would consider to be scary. Okay. But I do recommend it. I do recommend that you check out Abby along with The Antichrist. Yeah, it's a great film. It's a great film. It is a part of the demon possession era, and it is also a part of the subgenre of Blaxploitation films. So yeah, I thank you guys for listening in on this review of Abby, the story of a woman possessed. God bless you all, and I will see you again.